put them in the travel bag. Little thoughts and secrets on their way to get alive. You can write your thoughts on that pretty unicorn singing, whoa. Everything is changing in our little universe. Pursuit of perfection, make things better, make things worse. We can rearrange things, oh my sweetness, sing with me. You can write your thoughts on that pretty unicorn singing,
Hello everyone, bonjour à toutes et à tous, hello and welcome to the Moving Together social life event. My name is Annette Burgdorf, I'm a Franco-German journalist and I'm very happy and honored to moderate this event. So we are live today from Paris with Henri Poupard-Lafarge, CEO and Chairman of Alstom, and all of you are connected from everywhere in the world. So thank you very much for joining us today. So we are streaming live on LinkedIn and on the Alstom website. And from now on, you have the opportunity to submit your questions on the LinkedIn chat or via the anonymous Slido tool. You might know a Slido tool, which is embedded on the Alstom's website streaming window, or you join via slido.com using the code MOVING together. So we will aim to answer, of course, as many questions as possible during this live event. Hello, Henri. What
Hello.
a pleasure to meet you.
Good afternoon, Annette. Pleasure.
And thank you very much for welcoming us today here at Alstom in Paris. It's a beautiful place.
Absolutely. We are welcoming you in our headquarters, just at the outskirts of Paris during this beautiful day.
Yeah, exactly. So we have today a lot of people connected, listening to us, and they don't know perhaps what is Alstom today. So in 3 sentences, what does Alstom do?
Well, very simply, Alstom is one of the world leaders in rail transportation, actually in mobility in general. We are here to provide solutions to the operators, rolling stock solutions, signaling solutions, maintenance activities. Throughout the world, we are present on all continents, in all countries in the world.
Okay, and today we're going to speak about I would say, the biggest acquisition in the rail industry ever. On January 29th this year, Alstom announced the successful acquisition of one of its competitors, Bombardier Transportation. And this move has been headlined really as a mega merger by many newspapers. So why now? Why buying your competitor? And to be frank, at this period of uncertainty?
Well, you know, the mobility is facing extreme challenges. Actually, we can talk about a revolution of mobility. We need to have a greener and more sustainable mobility. And this merger is precisely to allow us to bring new solutions to the market in order to allow the mobility to transition from a carbon type of mobility to a decarbonized mobility.
And how did you announce this merger to your employees? How did it work?
Well, we announced it. It was extremely important to first speak to our employees. I mean, they will be the one making this challenge a success, absolutely. So we announced it, and they were all extremely excited by this perspective.
Positively excited.
Very positively excited.
Okay, great. Why do you think it is really important to inform employees first?
Well, again, I think, you know, when you merge 2 companies, the most important is that the 2 cultures are merging with one each other. So the 2 sets of employees are talking with one each other, understanding one each other. So So it was important to talk to them first. They are responsible for that.
So that you have to embark them,
Absolutely.
I guess.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
inform and embark them. And what about the Bombardier employees? I guess that you couldn't talk to them at this time.
No, during the transaction, we didn't talk to them, but after the transaction, of course, we have lots of talks with them, and they are equally excited by this perspective. I mean, they feel the need of joining forces to address all these new challenges.
Have you had any doubts ever during this phase?
Not at all, not at all. I was supported by all stakeholders, and as importantly, by the customers. It's important to see that the operators, public authorities are also welcoming this merger because they really believe that it will change the way we are addressing mobility challenges.
And what about the authorization institutions? What did they say? Did
Well,
they give green lights immediately?
No, it was extremely fast. Actually, we did the transaction in just 1 year, which is probably a record time. But this is precisely because both they can see that Bombardier and Alstom were very complementary to each other, so there were no overlaps, no antitrust problems, and at the same time, all public authorities could see the interest for themselves, for the different regions, for the different authorities of such a merger.
Okay, what I understand, it was the right partner for the right time. But I would like to ask again the question, why Bombardier? What made you decide this merge?
Fundamentally, we are a global company. We are present in a number of countries in the world, but we had strong points and weak points. It happens that Bombardier was also a global company, but with strong points and weak points, which were quite different from our points. So by merging the two companies, now we are extremely strong on all continents, on all markets. And this was the fundamental reason behind, I would say, this merger rather than another one.
Okay, I have some more questions, so perhaps let's have a seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about the transformation phase? Or what is this acquisition for you?
Well, it's a huge transformation for the company, of course. It gives us a lot of opportunities, a lot of potential. It also gives us a lot of responsibilities. As we know, the world is facing a huge challenge in terms of climate change. So we need to take part of the solutions, to need to be one of the solutions to tackle this climate change. And this is now, as a leader in mobility, we have this responsibility vis-à-vis our customers, employees, but also vis-à-vis entire authorities, vis-à-vis all citizens. We need to help them to embark into this new challenge.
Okay, let's talk a bit about the timing. In a nutshell, Alstom was in a good position, we can say, and Bombardier Transportation obviously not. So why carry such a burden? Is it a burden? It's a bit provocative.
No, not at all. Yes, of course, Bombardier had some execution problems, but you know, the employees of Bombardier have an immense expertise, immense competence, and also an immense resilience and way of progressing. So what we want to do is to create a new leader, a stronger leader. In the very short term, we'll have to solve a number of issues. We'll have to make sure that the projects are well executed and so forth, but I'm extremely confident that we'll manage that. And once it is being stabilized, then it will be a fantastic, innovative company which will bring new solutions to the market.
So a performant actor in a market which is growing.
Not only a market which is growing, but a market which is transforming itself, which is facing new challenges. When we talk about the hydrogen train, for example, it's a completely new way of driving trains, of powering trains. So it's not at all a market which is stable, which is just bringing the same solution ever. It's a market which is requiring a lot of innovations, and that is what we want to address.
Okay, but if I understand well, you will double in size and portfolio, and we are going to develop in a digital field. Does this mean this will be a new era?
Yes, definitively so. I mean, we want to have a larger platform in order to invest more in these innovations. Of course, smart innovations, digital world. I mean, you may know that already more than 2/3 of our engineers are actually software engineers. So we are already extremely enrooted in the digital technologies. So that will be the easiest way or the most efficient way, I would say, to improve the efficiency of a rail network, which was to invest into the digitalization of this network. So it's a complete transformation of the company.
And new era means new name?
The name Bombardier has a very strong legacy, very strong brand. But it happens that Bombardier name will be kept for the aviation sector. So on transport, on rail transportation, we want to keep Alstom, which is also a very strong and well-recognized name in the sector.
But you have a tagline, which is mobility by nature, which is a new one?
It's even more true today. It's even more, signifying exactly what we want to achieve. First, we are in the mobility. We are in no other sector than mobility. And by nature, which is meaning that it's our own DNA, but it's also we want to have a sustainable mobility. And all what we do is for the sustainable mobility.
Thank you very much for your answers of this first part of my question. Now let's come back to who Alstom is today. We'll watch a short video. Beautiful pictures. So Alstom is indeed a worldwide player.
Yes, definitively. This is one of the strengths of Alstom, is to be everywhere in the world, from Australia to North America, Chile to Europe to Russia. Actually, all major cities in the world require metro systems. I mean, number of cities in China, number of cities in India, in all these large countries. And Alstom is present side by side with all authorities to provide the right solutions.
And do you think that this merge with Bombardier will put you on the launchpad to become rail number one?
Well, I think the idea is to be rail number one in terms of innovation and solutions. I'm not just talking about the size of the company. I think in terms of what it brings to the market, what it brings to the operators. And on that one, we definitely want to be number one.
Okay, we also saw in the video a fleet of 150,000 vehicles in 40 countries, which is huge. So how do you plan to deal with such a size?
Yes, it's extremely important. I mean, when we provide rolling stocks to our customers, they will be in operation during 30 years, 40 years. And we need to maintain these rolling stocks. We need to upgrade the rolling stock. We need to help the operators to operate these rolling stock. So having such an installed fleet, 150,000 cars, is absolutely essential for the future of the company. I have to say as well, at a time of digitalization, when you have big data, when you have predictive maintenance, to be able to leverage such a large fleet is extremely important to get information in order to improve the way we are doing it in the future.
And you will be joined by quite a lot of people. How will you integrate 35,000 people?
Well, the first thing is to welcome them. And we have to make sure that the two teams, the ex-Alstom and the ex-Bombardier, who are no more ex, but now all Alstom colleagues, are welcoming each other, know each other, work with each other, find solutions to their respective problems with each other. And this is what has happened, actually. I'm extremely positive on the way people have talked to each other, which is the most important aspect.
I think it's obvious to welcome the people, but it's very important to remind this. Thank you for that. Yeah. So, Henry, what about listening to your customers? Because they want to say a few words on this mega merger, and we met them. And are you ready to listen to them?
Absolutely. They are extremely important, of course.
Okay, so let's go. Let's go to the studio.
Thank you.
We work together in many projects. I would just like to highlight two of them. In 2012 we bought 63 Coradia Lind for our company Flex, and last year we bought new stage 5 driven Linds for our new network Elbe Spree here around Berlin, so that the customers here in Berlin will have this very environmentally friendly product.
Alstom is a strong partner for Angel Trains. We are grateful that they're actually going to be more active in the UK. We have missed them as a new build player in the UK for a number of years. As I say, we have invested significantly in the 175, the 180 and the Pendolino fleets. And it will be very good to see Alstom being more active in the new build market in the UK.
Well, considering our long-standing relationship, there are many successful projects I could mention, especially with DB Regio. Generally speaking, Deutsche Bahn is one of Alstom's main customers.
Positive, strong and professional relationship based on respect.
To put it in a nutshell, reliable, strong and characterized by high quality standards.
We have a long-lasting relationship with Alstom, and we are working very trustful together in all our projects, and whenever we had any problems, we found solutions that were fitting for both of us.
Well, Deutsche Bahn Alstom is known for its competitiveness, quality orientation and highest delivery reliability, and of course its problem-solving competence. And this is what we clearly also expect from the entire newly formed company going forward. From our perspective, a major benefit is that Alstom is operating as a full service provider nowadays in regards to crucial digitalization efforts.
My expectation for the future is more customer proximity, and what we expect are really reliable, competitive projects for interesting traffic in the future.
So, Henry, much is expected from you. Would you like to make a comment on what we have just heard?
Well, actually, as you have seen, the customers' feedback is excellent. I mean, they were all expecting this merger, actually. They are expecting a lot from this merger. They know that the mobility sector is facing increasing challenges, and they just expect us to just face these challenges, to help them to face these challenges.
And they seem to be confident. Are you surprised by these testimonies?
Well, I feel touched by these testimonies, actually. I think we have in front of us a big challenge of integrating two companies, and they are relying on us, they are trusting us, actually, to be very successful. I mean, it gives us even more responsibilities. We cannot disappoint them, clearly not.
Okay, let's talk about the deliveries and the impact of the merger on the deliveries of current projects. Do you think that the merger will impact them, knowing that the Bombardier had troubles with project delivery?
Well, it has to actually impact the deliveries in a positive way. We know during this kind of mergers that we can have negative impacts, and we need to fight against these negative impacts, which is to distract some of us from their day-to-day job. We need to make sure that we keep customers at the heart of our day-to-day job. But we need to positively impact the deliveries by collaborating with one each other and therefore solving the past Bombardier issues together by bringing the most competence, the most expertise to solve these problems.
I would like to continue talking about the impact on your business. Do you think that the solutions and the product portfolio will change?
It will be enriched, actually. We want to address the entire market. I mean, all the customers, passengers, the operators, they require new solutions. So we need to innovate to bring new solutions, but we need also to combine both portfolio from Bombardier and from Alstom. Already today, we are actually presenting to the customers, proposing to the customer some trains which are made partially from ex-Alstom and partially from ex-Bombardier. This is quite an achievement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Henry. And to go further in the topic of services, let's welcome now Matthew Byrne, President Services of Alstom. So Matthew is connected live and direct from Derby, which is the Alstom UK side. Hi, Matt.
Thanks for the introduction and nice to meet you.
Good afternoon, Matt.
So Matt, hi. So Matt, my first question is very important. It's about the weather. How's the weather in Derby?
At least it's not raining. It's miserable, but it's not raining, so it's not too bad.
Thank you. So let's be a bit more serious. What does services entail?
So, in simple terms, it's the provision of solutions to our clients which allow them to meet their needs and commitments for their transportation obligations, to ensure that we're providing that in a safe, efficient and cost-effective manner. It is at its most integrated level, it's the running of full railways and transit systems. However, it can be everything below that level as well, the provision of parts, obsolescence services, train maintenance, train operations, systems maintenance. It is fundamental to enabling the railways and transit systems around the world to effectively operate from cradle to grave.
Okay, so if I understand well, you offer an enlarged services portfolio, and it means that you cover the full range of the customer needs. Am I right?
That is correct, very much so. We're able to not only provide train maintenance services, but through to train operation services. We've got an installed base of over 150,000 vehicles, and that's given us access to a global network of capabilities and facilities, which allows us to provide unparalleled solutions to our clients in every part of the world and every need going forward.
Okay, Matt, and to sum up, what are your key priorities for services?
The key priority is growth, achieving our growth potential. The world is changing, the need is accelerating for digitization, for reliability, for better services to our passengers. And Alstom is very well positioned to realize that. Now, there's two critical success factors to allow that to be realized. The first one is customer focus. Henri picked it up earlier, making sure that we are very customer centric in all our processes and our procedures, but also standing shoulder to shoulder with our clients at the critical times. We saw that through the pandemic. Our people around the world pulled out every stop to keep the world moving during that pandemic, standing shoulder to shoulder with client base. And we need to make sure we build upon that, take it to the next level, to make sure that we increase the ease of doing business, to make sure that we become a true partner, not just to the client base, but to our suppliers, our other stakeholders, the government agencies, and making sure that we can anticipate better the client's needs going forward and react more effectively, more efficiently. The second critical success factor I would suggest, and this possibly for me is equally as important, one very close to my heart, is our people. Services is a very much a people business, and we have some fantastic people around the world delivering services day in, day out, but we need to build upon that. We need to give them the environment for them to succeed and to flourish. We need to increase our diversity. We need to become much more attractive to the younger generation if we are going to continue to be the leader in the services market going forward and to meet our clients' needs.
Thank you very much. Now I hand over to the audience for the questions. Let's see what they want to know about services. So first of all, I would like to thank you for your questions. They were very numerous, and so we tried to regroup them, and we received many questions about the topic of predictive maintenance. Matt, can you tell us a bit more about it? How does it work?
Predictive maintenance is changing the landscape of the rail industry. Not just the rail industry, but many industries around the world. So it's not unique to rail. In its simplest form, it's the ability to either eliminate the need for physical intervention by telling us the data and the information needed to ensure that the vehicles are safe and reliable, or giving us data to allow us to predict failures going forward, so we can address said failures before they cause disruption to our passengers and to our clients.
Thank you. Here's the next question. Is Alstom becoming an operator itself now or in the future?
Well, train operations is new to Alstom. It was part of the acquisition of Bombardier Transportation, added that to the portfolio. It's been a very successful business for Bombardier Transportation over the years, particularly in North America, where we provide services across Canada and the US, including to Go Transit in Toronto and the surrounding areas, to a number of airports with automated transport systems, such as JFK in New York. So it's been a very successful business, and it is an integral part of our integrated solutions offering going forward to ensure that we can provide the best possible service to our clients and to our partners.
Okay, and here's the third question. How does services contribute to make rail transport safe during the worldwide pandemic?
Firstly, let me say that the studies which have been released recently show that rail transportation is still the safest form of transportation, even during the pandemic. Combined with mask wearing, it is a very low risk of transmission. And rail is fundamental. It has been fundamental during the pandemic to get critical workers to their place of work, to treat people, to keep the economies moving, and will be a fundamental aspect of the recovery. So we need to make sure, and Alstom has been the forefront of ensuring that this is the case, that we are standing shoulder to shoulder with our clients, with our partners, to fight through the pandemic and realise the growth afterwards. And there's a number of examples throughout the world with the investment that Alstom put in to develop new filters which not only trap the virus but actually kill the virus, through to the application of antimicrobial solutions to trains, UV treatments, even modifications to trains to enable social distancing. So we've been able to provide a package of solutions to our clients around the world, which allowed them to be able to continue to run safely during the pandemic. Customer and passenger confidence and perception is critical. As I say, rail is still the safest form of transportation when combined with mask wearing through the pandemic. And we ensure that we need to give the client base that foundation to be able to convince the public to come back onto trains. And that's what we've achieved.
So thank you very much, Matt. That's all.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you a lot.
See you soon. Thank you for your time. And now let's go east and see what opportunities the Asian market present to Alstom. And we will move now to Singapore to chat with Ling Fang. She is the newly appointed president, Henry, for this region.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Ling.
Hi, Henry. Thanks for inviting me. Digital doesn't make everything easier.
What time is it at your place?
Actually, it's 9:30 p.m. here in Singapore now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Good evening, then.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much for being with us at this time. So your market is Asia Pacific. Can you tell us about the biggest difference to the Western Hemisphere of the world in terms of rails?
Thank you very much, Annette. It's a very good question. You know, the growth and the dynamism we are living here in Asia Pacific in the real market is quite unique. The rate of urbanization in some of our countries here is among the highest and the fastest in the world. This is true for India, but also true for many other countries in Asia Pacific.
Okay, but don't you think that COVID, for example, changed or even put a stop to this dynamic?
Not really. Despite COVID, in China, the opening of new metro lines hit a record high in 2020. For example, between 15th December to 31st December 2020, in just 2 weeks, almost 700 kilometers of new metro lines were put into revenue service across 15 cities in China.
Okay, what we see that the Chinese market has always been one with high investments in rail.
Yes, but the other countries in Asia Pacific are not far behind. For example, the Indian Railways are moving towards the target of 100% electrification of the rail network by 2024. This initiative will make a key country with a huge population so much greener.
As you mentioned India, India is a growing market as well.
You are absolutely right, Annette. First, we have 1,000 kilometers of metro rail network under construction across 27 cities in India. Secondly, 8,000 kilometers of high-speed lines are under planification. Third, 8 corridors of semi-high speed will connect capital city Delhi to its neighbors. In a few years, private operators will be also allowed to run passenger services. All this makes India one of the most dynamic markets in the world. Big time indeed.
Okay, there are so many countries in your cluster. Do they have all the same dynamic?
We can say that all the countries, all the markets in Asia Pacific present growth opportunities. This being said, the countries are at the different stages of real development. The landscape is very diverse. For example, some countries or cities are quite mature in their public transportation policy, and they have already many metro lines in operation. It's the case of Hong Kong and Singapore, for example. While some other countries and cities are just opening their first metro lines, for example, in Vietnam. It means that we have to provide products and solutions adapted to the situation of each country or city.
Okay, the diversity you just mentioned is really a huge challenge, I would like to say. How do you cope with this?
It's a very good point. Actually, we manage individually. Each country comes with its own culture, and our customers are very different from one country to another. I have a strong team serving each customer individually in language and providing products serving their needs.
Okay, you mentioned your teams. So how do you integrate people and new sites at the time where you can't travel anymore?
Actually, we are digitally very advanced, Annette. For example, our get to know each other sessions have been virtual. Myself, I have been interacting with people where possible in person, but the rest virtually. Our site visits have been virtual as well. For example, Henry has joined several of our site visits virtually together with me. The pandemic has certainly accelerated our digital capabilities.
Henry, you travel all the time. You meet people. How does it work for you?
Well, actually, as being said, it's more complex nowadays, so I still travel a little bit. But yes, we have done a number of virtual visits in most of the sites in the world. I'm doing 2 or 3 a week. And yes, we've proven to be quite efficient, actually. It's not as good as if I was there, but at the same time, it's much more efficient.
Okay, thank you. So, Ling, if you don't mind, I will hand over to the audience and their questions. So, Ling, the first one is actually on competitors. So, Europe is quite afraid of competition coming from your region, and we read a lot about copying of our technologies. Are you challenging this?
This is a very good question, Annette. I'm happy to answer it. I'm always surprised to see how Europe reacts, particularly to Chinese competition. Healthy competition will accelerate research and development in the real industry, and this in itself can never be bad. The Western players have led technological advancement, but it's true that now Asian players are innovating as well.
Okay, are you ready for the second question?
Absolutely.
So what does the Bombardier acquisition change for Alstom in the eastern regions?
The Bombardier acquisition will bring a lot of complementarity in many areas in my region, geographical presence, industrial and engineering footprint, but also attractive product addition across all real segments. For example, in terms of geographical presence, myself, I'm personally very positive about our new strong presence in Thailand and Malaysia, market where historically Alstom presence was limited. In terms of manufacturing, our manufacturing capacity will be enhanced with the combination of the industrial side of the both companies. For engineering, our teams in India and Thailand will join their forces together to develop tomorrow's innovative solutions. Why work in parallel when you can work together on common goals?
Thank you very much for your enthusiasm and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Ling.
Very much.
Thank you
Have a
very
nice
much,
evening.
Ling, for your time. So, and we will move to our next part, and we'll see the other questions that have come up, and I would like to ask them in a few seconds. Okay, so you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Here's the first one. What was your biggest surprise since the closing of the merger?
Well, that's a good question. Frankly, my biggest surprise is our ability to team up together. I mean, we are just 2 months after D-Day, after the day one, and teams are already working together as if they were together for decades. And that's something which has come much more rapidly than what I thought. So I think there was something somewhere where people were waiting for that to happen, and as soon as it has happened, they jumped and they meet each other, they exchanged with each other. So the ambiance is extremely positive, and that's probably what is extremely satisfactory and a surprise to some extent.
What a great starting point.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it's, I mean, this is the beginning. We have large challenges internally, externally, but by meeting each other, by collaborating with one each other, I mean, no doubt that we will overcome these challenges.
Thank you. Since what was your biggest surprise? No, what is the feeling of Bombardier people so far?
I have to say that we are doing some what we call pulse checks, so short surveys to know what are the feelings of the people. More than 90% of the people of Bombardier think that the merger is a good thing for the two companies, so that the project is a good project. But more importantly, more than 90% of the Bombardier people think that this is a good thing for themselves, which is quite unique. Usually in this kind of merger, the company which is acquired has a little bit of anxiety, and it is normal. In that case, more than 90% of the people are happy to join the new Alstom. I think it's a fantastic achievement.
Great. Can we have the next question, please? What is the vision for the next 5 years?
Well, I think, Annette, it's a simple vision. There are 2 steps. The first step is to make sure that this company is up and running, that we are delivering our projects to our customer satisfaction, that we are really running as one integrated company. This will take, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years probably before we achieve such a state. After that, of course, we'll start in parallel. We really need to be at the leading front of the innovation. So we'll start to innovate more and more. And believe me, in 3 years, we'll really run extremely fast because we need that. Not only we need that, but the market needs it. Our customers need it. The overall development of the planet requires that. So we have short-term vision, a short-term ambition to really put things well in order, if I may say.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can run extremely fast.
Okay, the next one. What are the strong and what are the weak point on ex-Bombardier and ex-Alstom side?
I think one of the very strong point of Bombardier was to be a truly global company. There was no one center in Bombardier. There were several centers around the world. So it was like equal treatment for all the poles in the world. There was a very strong localization, very good customer intimacy, strong customer intimacy. And I'm surprised I could have said that by the good customer intimacy of the Bombardier setup. At the same time, Alstom was probably a little bit more centralized, more risk adverse. And I think we need to find the right balance between a complete localization with sometimes working in silos and maybe too strong centralization, which creates some bureaucracy. So we need to create the right balance and take the both of the two worlds. In terms of technology, clearly we have different types of product portfolio. Bombardier had some unique capabilities in locomotives, in monorail, in people mover. Alstom is well known for the very high-speed train. So overall, we are extremely complementary in our weak point and strong points. I can add the geographical as well. I mean, it's been said by Ling. Even in Southeast Asia, we were very strong in some countries. Bombardier was strong in other countries. Latin America, Bombardier was strong in Mexico, we were strong in Brazil. So very complementary.
Okay. Which specific innovations do you see as critical to move together into the future of the mobility industry?
That's a very good question, a very complex question, more complex than it may seem, because what we need to see is what are the innovations which are required by the passengers. I don't think speed, for example, is the ultimate innovation. Comfort, definitively. Safety, efficiency, fluidity of the journey. That are innovations which will bring a plus to the passengers. And fluidity of the journey is, for example, when we are shortening the time during two metros from 90 seconds to 60 seconds. You can imagine the capacity that you are bringing to a line by doing so. We have a project from Paris to Lyon where we are moving from 13 trains per hour to 16 trains per hour. So here you are increasing a lot the capacity of the line and therefore increasing the comfort and the passenger experience.
We need seamless journeys. Yes,
definitively seamless journeys. And because we want to serve everybody, we want to have a reliable solution working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because also the passengers now in cities, I mean, cities are never sleeping, so we really need to have this kind of reliable systems days and night.
Okay, thank you. When an Alstom Hyperloop?
Well, that's a good question.
We are all in the future.
We are in the future. No, just to make it simple, Hyperloop is a combination of two technologies. Is one, a train on sustentation, magnetic sustentation, so like the maglev, which was existing for quite a while, and two, a train in an empty tube. So we are working and we have constantly worked on this kind of magnetic sustentation. So we have some development there. We have no solution. You know that solution which has been developed in Germany quite a few decades ago, but adopted mostly in China. So it's not the first short-term priority, but of course, we are looking at all these innovations.
When will diversity in management positions be increased? Genders, generations, etc.
Well, that's of course a totally different question, even though I really believe that innovation precisely comes from the diversity in the management. So we are far from that. We have a target of having 25%, for example, of gender diversity, but for me, diversity goes much beyond gender. It's gender, generations, cultural background. I mean, we are a global company. It's important for us, our metros and trams, of course, they carry any people, any kind of people from whatever their origin. So we need internally to be with this kind of diversity. So we will progressively move into that direction. We'll do a lot of efforts to do that. I think this is required for us to also to benefit from all the talents. So we'll definitively embark in that journey.
What is your perspective on the pace of the integration of Bombardier people into the Alstom organization?
Well, it has been extremely fast, extremely fast. We have already set up the organization. And symbolically, because our financial year starts 1st of April, I say 1st of April, there is no more Bombardier people or Alstom people. There is only Alstom people, the new Alstom people. The organization is there. For me, the integration is already there. I'm already talking to a large number of people who were from Bombardier, as it is, I am doing with the ex-Alstom colleagues. So the integration is there.
Okay. We hear a lot about innovation, how to better embark our suppliers into that journey.
Innovation has to be collaborative, definitively. We have a number of programs internally, but we have also programs with our suppliers. So we have partners, so we have a group of suppliers with whom we are signing, I would say, broad contracts, frame contracts, to embark them into our innovation effort. It's extremely important to gather diverse opinions, diverse ideas, but also because a lot of innovation will come from sub-elements of our trains, one particular subsystems or another one. And these ones are usually manufactured, designed by suppliers. So we need to work with them to see how to optimize the full train itself.
Do investors believe in your story?
Well, of course, and I hope that the ones having asked the question believe as well. Frankly, you have seen a very large support of the financial investment on our project, not only because they have, I think, voted by more than 99% at our General Assembly, so our shareholders have extremely largely supported the project, but in addition, the investors have put a lot of money in the project because we have raised a lot of capital, actually, with old and new shareholders, more than 5 billion euros of capital, which have been brought by investors. And this is the ultimate sign of confidence, which is to bring your money.
Can we have a next question? This one we have already. What will be the strategy of the group for the coming years? Which products, tram, metro trains, will be key for the group?
Actually, we are developing all type of products. I mean, with the new group, the new size of the group, the new global reach of the group, we have to be present on all markets and all types of products. So from tram, monorail, people mover, to very high-speed trains, so of course regional trains, high-speed trains, and so forth. But let me tell something as well. I mean, here we are talking about rolling stock. Rolling stock is only half of our activity. If you look at our digital portfolio, signaling activities, this represents roughly 20% of our activity. Matt has also explained a lot about our service activities. We have as well a turnkey activities, which is to bring not only the rolling stock, but the full new line from infrastructure, electrification, and so forth. So we want to be a kind of one-stop provider, one-shop provider of all type of solution. And there is no, I cannot say that metro is more important than the other ones. We need to bring whatever our customers are requiring.
This one we have seen. Could we have the next question, please? How customers are being involved to give regular feedback to Alstom in order to improve customer focus in platforms and projects?
Customer is at the heart of our day-to-day life. I mean, we live for our customer, we breathe for our customers. So we have, of course, a number of processes to have this customer feedback. I would say there are some very formal processes. We have customer surveys, so we regularly ask questions to the customer, and we are rated, and out of 10, everything below 8 is unacceptable, so we are working on how to improve this customer's feedback. But of course, nothing replaces the dialogue. We have day-to-day contact with our customers, and we are discussing with them, we are meeting them to launch R&D plan. If you take, for example, in France, but it's true in most of the countries, we are actually gathering into a forum in order to develop new plans, new innovation plans. At the European level, we have Shift to Rail with the involvement of operators. So railway is a system. We need to embark everybody to define the way forward. So we are doing that.
How will you manage expectations of former Bombardier Transportation in joining Alstom in the next 12 or 18 months?
Well, I think it's, for me, there is no expectations to be managed from Bombardier Transportation or from the ex-Alstom. What is extremely important is to embark the full company into one vision. So we aim at presenting in July, actually beginning of July, a new plan which will set the priorities for the next 5 years very clearly, operationally, but also from a technological standpoint. And this will embark the full company behind one project. So I will not make the difference between Bombardier or Alstom. There will be one plan for the company which will set the pace and set the vision for the company.
How the merger will impact the portfolio of products proposed by Alstom for rolling stock and signaling in particular?
I think it will, again, enlarge a lot the portfolio, not only by the addition of the two portfolios, but by the combination of the two portfolios. We are, like in India or in Mexico, we are already introducing trains made of different elements from the Bombardier portfolio and the Alstom portfolio, whether it's subsystem like the traction systems or even entire. I mean, we can put locomotives from Alstom and coaches from Bombardier, for example. In signaling, it's the same. I mean, signaling, we have the classical, I would say, urban signaling technologies, mainline technologies, a lot of onboard technologies, and it happens that Alstom was very strong on onboard technologies, which are the technologies which are in the trains, in the full signaling system. So very rapidly, we'll put some of these technologies from Alstom in the so-called Bombardier train. So that's what we are doing. In addition, there are some particular technologies for trams, for particular cities, for particular countries. So not only it will double the portfolio, but more than that, by the combination of the different sub-elements with each other.
Thank you. What products of ex-Bombardier do bring most value to Alstom?
The technologies of Bombardier are extremely important. I would give you one example. Signaling in Germany on the track side, so the signaling which is beside the tracks, Alstom was not very present. Alstom, Bombardier has a technology there. Germany is by far probably the largest market in signaling. The combination of Bombardier and Alstom on this market is extremely powerful and will help the new Alstom to fully penetrate in this market. But I would say that I would not say that Bombardier is bringing one product in particular. It's the geographical span of Bombardier, the customer intimacy of Bombardier, which is the best value of Bombardier. And it goes with some technology which are dedicated to each single market. Again, as I said, Bombardier was very much multi-local, so they have products which are extremely well suited to one particular market. And this is not one technology, but this portfolio of technology, which is absolutely key for Alstom.
We'll continue. There are many questions. What is Alstom's long-term plan for the Indian market?
Well, India is a fantastic market. It's a fantastic country. It's a fantastic continent. Today, India, we have approximately 8,000 employees in India. For us, India is both a fantastic market, of course, 1.4 billion inhabitants, so many cities without any metro systems. We are present in all cities which have today a metro system in India. Alstom is present in rolling stock, in signaling, and so forth. We are present now in the main line where there is a huge effort of electrification of the Indian network. We are present with electrical locomotives. We are present with some signaling. But in addition, India is a fantastic resource for employment. I mean, I should say richness. I mean, it's a lot of engineers, very talented engineers. So already today, more than 20% of our engineering capabilities, 25% of our engineering capabilities are located in India. And this will grow as the market in India will grow, but also to support the rest of the world. So India will become as well a fantastic, innovative place.
What have you learned from ex-Bombardier employees so far?
Well, I have to say that I am extremely surprised and challenged to some extent, and also positively surprised by the resilience of Bombardier Transport people. I mean, resilience is probably a word which is a little bit common nowadays. But we have to realize that Bombardier went through a number of years of crisis. Bombardier Group level, very difficult situation. And yet, I find Bombardier transportation people are extremely enthusiastic, very positive. They are embracing their new chapter within the global Alstom group with a lot of positive energy. So they give us a lot of energy. So that's probably something which is a very key addition to us.
And so important, yes. What about the autonomous train?
Absolutely key. Absolutely key. First of all, we need to define what is autonomous train. As you know, we have already autonomous metros, automated metros. Everywhere, I mean, you know that in lots of cities, it brings much more efficient ways of managing the traffic, for example, because of course you can put on the line metros whenever you want. So it's extremely flexible. You do that not to save, I would say, the salary of a driver, not at all. It is to increase the flexibility of the system and also to save energy, because actually the machine is running the metro much smoother than a human being could do. That's internally in a metro system. Externally, in a mainline system, that's extremely important for the same reasons. It's more complex because, of course, you are in open environment, so things can happen which are not foreseen. We are extremely proud to have the first autonomous, what we call automated train, regional trains in Germany. So we are implementing in Germany the first automated train, regional train, so in an open environment. So this is for tomorrow. It's not yet here, but it's really for tomorrow. This is, I would say, our next very bright innovation.
And here's the last question, because time is running out. So what is the Alstom strategy in China, where there is a large demand in infrastructure?
Well, we are extremely present in China through a number of joint ventures with CRRC, which is a Chinese manufacturer, or CRSC for the signaling equipment in China. Yes, China is growing extremely fast, and Ling has said that there is a lot of demand in infrastructure, so we are present. We are developing our solutions. Actually, we are the #1, for example, in urban signaling. We are also developing some of our latest innovation. I was speaking about the signaling system, reducing the headway. It is deployed in France. It's deployed as well in China. So yes, definitively, China is a large market as well.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you very much for these fantastic questions, engaged questions. Thank you very much, Henry, for your time and for this very interesting interview, your answers, everything. So what I understand is rail will play a major role in the future, and it's key to a green future through investments and through smart technology. And now I let you conclude.
Thank you, Annette. I think it was a very good session. Thank you, Annette. It was a very lively session. So thank you for all of you who have participated to this session. I think it could have lasted very long, so maybe we'll do more of these sessions in the future. As you said, I mean, we are in front of a very large challenge. I mean, climate change is, after the sanitary challenge, probably the most dramatic challenge which has to be faced by society. We are here to embrace this challenge. We are here to answer to these needs. It's our responsibility to bring to the market the right solution to make rail more efficient, more attractive, so that all of you will take even more the rail mobility than they do today. That's our ambition, that's our vision to make you love rail. Thanks a lot.